The little dragon had no name. On his world, mothers gave names to their bobbies, but his mother was dead. She died before she could give him one. He was very small. His scales were black like the night sky when there are no stars. His eyes were bright orange, like fire trapped in glass. The other dragons looked at him and saw something broken, something they did not want. They called him nameless when they talked about him at all. His mother had been beautiful once. The elders said she had scales like silver moonlight and a voice that could shake mountains. She had found a safe place to lay her egg. She had kept it warm with her fire. She had waited for him to hatch. But then the raiders came. There were insect creatures from the stars. They came in ships that screamed through the sky. They wanted dragon eggs, dragon scales, dragon blood. They took what they wanted and burned everything else. His mother fought them. She killed many before they killed her. And in her last moment, when the fire in her heart was almost gone, she wrapped her body around one small egg. She used the last of her heat to keep it safe. The other dragons found him 3 days later, a tiny thing, newly hatched, crying beside his mother's cold body. He did not understand death yet. He only knew that she would not wake up. He only knew that he was alone. The elders held a meeting. They talked for many hours about what to do with him. Some said he was cursed, bad luck, a reminder of the attack they wanted to forget. Others said he was too small, too weak. He would not survive the winter. In the end, they decided to do nothing. They would not kill him, but they would not help him either. He would live or die on his own. That was the dragon way. So the little dragon learned to survive. He found a small cave at the edge of the territory. It was cold and dark and lonely, but it was his. He slept there, curled into a tight ball, dreaming of warmth he could not remember. He learned to hunt small things, insects, lizards, sometimes a bird if he was lucky. He was not good at hunting. His fire was weak, just tiny sparks that fizzled out before they could burn anything. The older dragons could breathe flames that melted rock. He could barely light dry grass. But he did not give up. He could not give up. Something inside him kept pushing forward, even when his stomach was empty and his body was tired. The hardest part was not the hunger. The hardest part was watching the families. Every evening the dragons gathered in the central valley, mothers and fathers and children all together. The young ones played games, chasing each other through the air. The parents watched with proud eyes. When night came, they slept in piles, scales against scales, sharing warmth and comfort. The little dragon watched from his cliff top. He was too far away for them to see him, but he could see them. Every night he watched until his eyes hurt, until his chest felt like something was crushing it from inside. He did not understand the feeling. He only knew it was heavy. He only knew it never went away. Sometimes when the moons rose together in the sky, he would lift his head and make sounds, not words. Dragons his age could not speak yet, just sounds, long, sad cries that echoed across the mountains. The other dragons heard him. They pretended they did not. 3 cold seasons passed this way. The little dragon grew, but slowly. He was still smaller than others his age, still weaker, still alone. He learned things no young dragon should have to learn: how to find shelter in storms, how to hide from predators, how to make a little food last a long time, how to sleep with one eye open. But some things he could not learn by himself: how to fly properly, how to control his fire, how to speak the dragon language. These things needed teachers. These things needed family. He had neither. On the night everything changed, he was sitting on his usual cliff top. The moons were bright. The families were settling down in the valley below. He watched a mother dragon lick her baby's scales clean. He watched a father dragon teach his son to fold his wings correctly. The crushing feeling in his chest grew stronger. He opened his mouth and cried out. The sound was louder than usual, longer. It carried across the mountains and up into the stars. He did not know that something was listening. Far above the world, beyond the clouds, beyond the sky itself, a ship was dying. It fell through the darkness, wrapped in fire, carrying a creature the little dragon had never seen before. A creature who was also alone, also broken, also looking for something she could not name. Their paths were about to cross. The little dragon did not know this yet. He only knew that the night felt different somehow. The air tasted strange, like change, like possibility. He curled up in his small cave and closed his eyes. Tomorrow would be another day of hunger and loneliness, another day of surviving. But somewhere deep inside, in a place he did not know he had, something was waking up, something that felt almost like hope. The stars above him burned bright, and one of them was falling. Lieutenant was having a very bad day. Her ship was on fire, 3 enemy vessels were chasing her, and the planet below was getting closer very fast. She had been alone in space for 6 months. Her job was simple: fly to new places, take pictures, write reports, go home. The Terran Exploratory Corps called it a survey mission, called it lonely work. But she was good at lonely. She had been lonely most of her life. Her grandmother had raised her in the ruins of Seoul. The old city had collapsed when was just a baby. Earthquakes, floods, then war. By the time it was over, there was nothing left but broken buildings and broken people. Her grandmother was not broken, was made of steel and stubbornness. She taught to survive, to fight, to never give up no matter how bad things looked. Things looked very bad right now. They had found her near an asteroid belt, 3 warships against her tiny scout vessel. They wanted her alive. Terrans were valuable prisoners, good for information, good for trade. Had other plans. She fought them for 2 hours. Her ship was fast and she was clever. She destroyed one of their ships by leading it into an asteroid. She damaged another with her small weapons, but the third one was too strong. It hit her engines, then her shields, then her hull. The homeward dawn started falling apart around her. She aimed for the planet below. It was not in any database. No one had ever been there before, but it had air she could breathe and land she could crash on. That was enough. The fall took forever and no time at all. Held onto her controls and watched the ground rush up to meet her. She thought about her grandmother. She thought about the stories of survival. She thought about all the things she still wanted to do. The ship hit the ground like a hammer hitting stone. When opened her eyes, she was surprised to be alive. Everything hurt. Her ribs screamed when she breathed. Blood ran down her face from a cut on her forehead. Her left arm did not want to move. But she was alive. She crawled out of the broken ship and looked around. Purple trees, orange sky, mountains in the distance, a beautiful world that might kill her. Her emergency supplies were scattered everywhere. She gathered what she could: food for maybe 2 weeks if she was careful, a medical kit, a knife, a small weapon. Her scanner still worked, which was good. Her communication equipment was melted. Her distress beacon was broken. No one knew where she was. No one was coming to save her. Took a deep breath. Her ribs hurt, but she ignored them. She had survived worse, probably. She fixed her wounds first, wrapped her ribs tight, cleaned the cut on her head. Her arm was just bruised, not broken. Good news. Then she started walking. Sitting by the crash would not help. She needed water, shelter, a plan. The forest was strange and beautiful. The purple leaves made soft sounds in the wind. Small creatures watched her from the branches. They had too many eyes, but they did not seem dangerous. Found a stream after 3 hours of walking. The water looked clean. Her scanner said it was safe. She drank until her stomach hurt. She filled her containers. Shelter was harder. She found a place between some large rocks, not perfect but better than nothing. She spent the rest of the day building walls from branches and leaves. Her ribs complained. She ignored them. When night came, she tried to start a fire. It took a long time. The wood was different here. It did not want to burn, but was stubborn. Her grandmother had taught her well. Finally, a small flame caught. She ate a tiny piece of her food and watched the flames dance. The loneliness hit her then, hard and sudden like a wave. She was alone, really alone, millions of miles from any other human, no one to talk to, no one to help her. If she died here, no one would ever know what happened. Tears came before she could stop them. She pressed her hands against her mouth to keep quiet. She did not know why she was being quiet. There was no one to hear. She cried until she was empty. Then she dried her face and stared at the fire. She would survive. She had to survive. She was Terran. She was her grandmother's girl. She did not know how to give up. But that night, as she lay in her small shelter listening to strange animal sounds, she wished she was not alone. She wished there was someone, anyone, to share this with. Above her, through gaps in the purple leaves, strange stars burned in a strange sky. She did not know that something was watching her, something small and dark, with orange eyes like fire, something that had followed her since the crash, drawn by a feeling it could not understand. Something that was also alone, also afraid, also wishing for someone to share the darkness with. Their meeting was coming, but not yet. For now they were just two lonely creatures in a big, empty world, surviving, waiting, hopping for something they could not name. The fire burned low, closed her eyes. Tomorrow she would keep fighting. Tomorrow she would start again. But tonight she was just a scared girl far from home, dreaming of warmth and family and love. Tonight she was just like him. The little dragon had never seen anything like her. She walked on two legs like the raiders, but she was different, softer, smaller. Her skin was smooth and brown with no scales or hard shell. Dark hair fell around her face. She moved slowly, carefully, one arm wrapped around her middle like she was holding herself together. She was hurt, he could see that, smell it, the copper scent of blood, the bitter smell of pain. For 3 days he followed her through the forest. He stayed far away, hiding in shadows, watching from behind rocks and trees. He did not know why he was following. He just knew he could not stop. She built a shelter. He watched her carry branches until her arms shook. He watched her fall down twice and get up twice. He watched her hands bleed from the rough wood. She did not give up. He liked that. She tried to make fire. Again and again she tried. The sparks would not catch. The wood would not burn. She made sounds of frustration that he understood even without words. On the second night she finally made a small flame. Her face changed. Her mouth curved up at the corners. He would learn later that this was called smiling. For now, he just knew it made her look less sad. She ate very little. He saw how she looked at her food before eating, how she divided it into small pieces, how she put most of it away and ate only a tiny bit. She was hungry like him. On the third night, something happened that changed everything. She was sitting by her fire. The flames made her face glow orange. Suddenly, her shoulders started shaking. Water came from her eyes and ran down her cheeks. She pressed her hands over her mouth and made sounds. Small sounds, broken sounds, sounds of sadness so deep it hurt to hear. The little dragon knew those sounds. He had made them himself, alone in his cave, crying for a mother who would never come back. Something moved inside his chest, something warm and strange and powerful. Before he knew what he was doing, he stepped out of the shadows. She saw him immediately. Her hand grabbed a weapon. Her body went stiff. Her eyes were wide and scared. He stopped moving. He sat down right there at the edge of the firelight. He made himself as small as possible. He tried to look harmless. They stared at each other. The moment stretched long and thin like honey dripping from a spoon. Neither of them moved. Neither of them breathed. Then slowly she lowered her weapon. Her head tilted to one side. Her eyes moved over his body, taking in his size, his scales, his wings, his orange eyes. She made a sound, soft, gentle, words he did not understand but tones he did. He chirped back, a tiny sound from deep in his throat, uncertain, hopeful. Her mouth curved up again, the smile. More words. Her voice was like water over smooth stones, calm, kind. He wished he could understand. She pointed at herself, made a sound, repeated it, then pointed at him and raised her eyebrows. He did not know what she wanted. He tilted his head. She smiled again, bigger this time. She put her hand on her chest. She made a sound that was like her name. Then she looked at him and waited. He had no name, no sound to give her. He just chirped again, sad and small. Something changed in her eyes, understanding, sympathy. She had figured out what he was. She spoke more words. Her voice was soft now, gentle, the same voice mothers used with their bobbies. He knew this from watching the dragon families, even if no one had ever used that voice with him. She held out her hand, palm up, open, not threatening. He moved closer, one step, two. His heart was beating so fast he thought it might break out of his chest. Her hand smelled like metal and earth and something sweet he could not name. He stretched his neck forward. His nose touched her fingers. She was warm, so warm, like sunlight, like fire, like everything he had ever wanted. She moved very slowly. Her fingers touched his head. Gentle, careful, they stroked down his scales. The feeling was impossible to describe. It was like coming home to a place he had never been, like finding something he did not know he had lost. A sound came out of him, not a chirp this time, something deeper, a rumble from his chest. Later he would learn this was called purring. She made a sound too, a laugh but not mean, happy, warm. She pulled her hand back. He made a sad noise before he could stop himself. She laughed again and reached into her bag. She pulled out a small piece of her food and held it out to him. He sniffed it, strange smell, nothing like anything he had eaten before. He ate it anyway. It was the best thing he had ever tasted. He looked at her with new eyes. She had given him food, her food, the food she did not have enough of. Why would she do that? She was watching him with that soft look on her face. She said more words. Then she patted the ground beside her. An invitation. He moved closer, slowly, ready to run if she changed her mind. She did not change her mind. He sat beside her, close enough to feel her warmth, not quite touching. They stayed like that as the fire burned low. Two lonely creatures, side by side, not speaking the same language but understanding each other perfectly. For the first time since his mother died, the little dragon did not feel alone. And somewhere deep inside, a door that had been closed for a very long time started to open. Told herself not to get attached. The creature was small, it was young, it was clearly starving, and it would not leave her alone. Every morning when she woke up, orange eyes were watching her. Every time she walked somewhere, small feet followed behind. Every night when she sat by the fire, a black-scaled body settled beside her. It was a dragon, she was sure of that now. What else had wings and scales and smoke curling from its nose, but it was tiny, much smaller than dragons from Earth stories, and it seemed so young, so lost. Like a child. She tried to send it away at first. She waved her arms. She made loud noises. She pointed toward the mountains where her scanner showed other large creatures lived. The dragon just tilted its head and looked at her with those fire-colored eyes. It did not leave. On the 5th day, she gave up trying. The little dragon was actually useful. He knew this world. She did not. When she walked toward water that smelled wrong, he blocked her path. When she reached for a fruit that might be poisonous, he pushed her hand away with his nose. When something dangerous moved in the forest at night, he woke her with a warning growl. He was keeping her alive. She realized this slowly, then all at once. One morning she woke to find a dead animal at the entrance of her shelter. Small and furry, like a rabbit but with too many legs. The dragon sat beside it, looking proud and nervous at the same time. He had hunted for her, he had brought her food. Something cracked inside his chest, something that had been frozen for a very long time. She looked at the dragon. He was watching her face, waiting for something. His tail twitched back and forth. She understood suddenly. He wanted approval. He wanted her to be happy with him. Just like a child bringing a drawing to his mother. Smiled. Her eyes burned with tears she refused to let fall. She reached out and stroked his head. She spoke gently. She told him he was good. He was so good. He was the best dragon in the whole world. He could not understand her words, but he understood her voice. His whole body wiggled with joy. His wings flapped at his sides. The rumbling purr started deep in his chest. From that day on, everything changed. They became a team. She taught him things with gestures and patience. Sit, stay, come, good, bad. He learned fast, faster than she expected. There was real intelligence behind those orange eyes. He taught her things too, which plants were safe, which animals to avoid, where to find clean water, where to hide when storms came. She started talking to him like a person. She knew he could not understand all her words, but she talked anyway, about her life, about her grandmother, about Earth and space and all the things she missed. He listened. He always listened. His head on her lap, his eyes on her face, his attention complete. 2 weeks passed, then 3. Her ribs healed, her cuts closed. She grew stronger. The dragon grew too. She realized he was eating better now than he had before. Between her hunting and his hunting, there was enough food. His scales started to shine. His eyes grew brighter. He put on weight. He was healthier because of her. One night she looked at him sleeping by the fire and felt something huge and terrifying bloom in her chest. Love. She loved this strange little creature, this dragon who had adopted her as much as she had adopted him. She thought about her grandmother. After the soul collapse had taken in many children who lost their parents, she fed them, protected them, loved them. It did not matter that they were not her blood. She chose them, and that made them family. Reached out and touched the dragon's head. She needed to give him a name. She thought about it for a long time, something that meant something, something that connected them. She had come from the sky. He had been waiting below. When she finally left this world, she wanted to take him with her. She wanted to show him the stars. It meant sky in her grandmother's language, the sky that connected all worlds, the sky that had brought them together. She leaned down and whispered the name against his sleeping head. He made a soft sound, content safe. For the first time since the crash, did not feel alone. She had someone to protect, someone to care for, someone who needed her. She had a son. It did not matter that he had scales instead of skin. It did not matter that he breathed smoke instead of air. It did not matter that they were different species from different worlds. Her grandmother had taught her that family was not about blood. Family was about choice, about love, about refusing to let someone be alone. Had made her choice. Now she just had to keep them both alive long enough for it to matter. She worked harder on the emergency beacon. If she could fix it, if she could send a signal, someone might come. Someone might save them. Both of them. She would not leave behind. She would not abandon him like his own kind had done. She was his mother now, and mothers protected their children. No matter what. They found her in the 3rd week. Had known they would come. Her crash had been too loud, the fire too bright. She had hoped to fix the beacon before they arrived. She had run out of time. There were 3 of them, tall insect soldiers with hard shells and sharp weapons. They came through the forest like hunters tracking wounded prey. Was at the edge of a cliff when they caught her. She had been collecting plants, was somewhere in the trees hunting for their dinner. The lead made a clicking sound with his mouth parts. The other 2 spread out to block her escape. Behind her was empty air, a long fall into mist and rocks below. In front of her were 3 killers. No way out. The lead spoke in broken common, the language traders used across the galaxy. "One Terran, lost and alone, the Empress will pay well for you." Raised her hand slowly. Her weapon was back at camp. She had only a knife, not enough against 3 armored soldiers. Her mind raced, looking for options, finding none. Then she heard it, a small sound from the trees, a familiar chirp. "No, please no." Burst out of the forest. He threw himself between his wings spread wide. Smoke poured from his nose. He made a sound she had never heard before, a shriek of pure rage. He was protecting her. Her tiny dragon was trying to protect her from 3 armed soldiers. The lead laughed. The sound was ugly, like bones breaking. "A pet, we will kill it first, then we will take you." He raised his weapon and pointed it at. Something happened inside, something ancient, something terrible, something that lived in all mothers since the beginning of time. A door in her mind opened. Red flooded her vision. All her fear disappeared. All her pain disappeared. There was only one thought left, one burning purpose. Protect the child. She moved. She did not think about her injured ribs. She did not think about being outnumbered. She did not think at all. Her body moved on pure instinct, years of training flowing through her like water. The first never saw her coming. She hit him low and hard. He went over the cliff edge, screaming all the way down. The second swung his weapon at her. She ducked under it, grabbed his arm, twisted. The weapon came free. She turned it on him and fired. He fell. The leader was faster. His blade caught her across the ribs. She felt something crack. Hot blood soaked her shirt. The pain was incredible. She did not stop. She grabbed his arm, pulled him close, drove her knee into his body. Once, twice, 3 times, he doubled over. She took the blade from his hand and used it on him. He fell. Silence. Stood alone on the cliff edge. 3 soldiers lay dead or dying around her. Blood dripped from her hands, her blood, their blood, mixed together on the stone. Her legs gave out. She fell to her knees. Was there instantly, pressing against her, making worried sounds. His rough tongue licked her face, her hands, her wounds. She grabbed him and pulled him close. Her whole body was shaking. Tears streamed down her face, but she was laughing too, or maybe screaming. She could not tell anymore. "Nobody touches my son." Her voice did not sound like her voice. It was deep and raw and dangerous. The voice of something that would burn the whole world down to protect one small dragon. She meant it. God help her, she meant every word. Looked up at her with those orange eyes. He understood. She could see that he understood. He pressed his head against her chest and made the purring sound. Safe. She had kept him safe. That was what mothers did. 3 days later, the beacon finally worked, sent her signal into the stars and waited. A Terran rescue ship came. It broke through the clouds like an answer to a prayer. Stood outside her shelter within her arms. She refused to let him go. When the soldiers tried to take him, she bared her teeth like an animal. "He stays with me. He is mine." The captain looked at her, looked at the dragon, looked at the wounds she was still healing from. He had read the scanner reports. He knew about the soldiers. This small woman had killed 3 trained warriors with her bare hands, to protect a baby dragon she had found in the wilderness. The captain was a smart man. He did not argue. 6 months later stood before the High Council on Earth, sat at her feet, bigger now and proud. His scales gleamed like polished night. His eyes burned like twin suns. Spoke of the dragons, of their intelligence, their culture, their potential for alliance. She spoke of peace and understanding between species. The council listened. They looked at the dragon who watched his human mother with complete devotion. They looked at the human who had adopted an alien child and loved him as her own. They approved her proposal. 1 year later, the first dragon ambassador came to Earth. He was old and wise, and had once thought the nameless orphan was cursed. He did not think that anymore. Humans were strange creatures, small and soft and short-lived. They could not breathe fire or fly through storms. But they had something else, something the dragons had never seen before. They found broken things and made them whole. They took the abandoned and gave them homes. They looked at orphans and saw children worth loving. The old dragon watched playing with in a garden on Earth. The human woman threw a ball. The dragon chased it, wings flapping, making sounds of pure joy. Terrans, the old dragon thought, we should watch these creatures very carefully. They did not leave their children behind. And the universe, he knew, would never be the same.